Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
The state of Tasmania's overwhelmed healthcare system is back in an unwanted spotlight, with the shortage of medical professionals impacting another small town. The St Mary's community rallying behind its only GP after the long-serving doctor was forced to resign.
A tight-knit community's worst fears coming true. The only GP in St Mary's set to hang up his stethoscope.
Devastated. Absolutely devastated.
For 16 years, Dr Cyril Latt has operated the town's private practice, bulk billing more than 1,800 patients in St Mary's and beyond.
He puts the health of the community before the dollar.
Also keeping the district hospital afloat, painstakingly on call 24/7.
If we take away that capacity for immediate intervention here, they're going to be in an ambulance and off to either the Launceston General Hospital or the Royal Hobart Hospital to join the queue.
That fate soon to be their new reality. After months of failed contract negotiations, Dr Latt has handed in his resignation, saying the workload is affecting his own health.
And it's physically impossible for one man to do that without a break.
It doesn't matter how competent you are, you've got to sleep sometime, let alone eat or maybe even play a game of golf.
Locals voicing their frustration as they're left with unanswered questions and an uncertain future.
It just puts unnecessary fear, concern and actually anger.
St Mary's now joining a growing list of Tasmanian towns left without a GP.
This is a real kick in the guts for rural and regional communities.
That situation is just disgraceful, tragic, and it's certainly not the way in which a government should go about negotiating with medical staff.
The government says it is taking action to ensure their health standards are upheld.
We're working at potential other options of enabling new people to come in and support the community.
Dr Latt's last day is November 17. If a replacement or a solution isn't found by then, it's feared more locals will pack up and leave a town they love. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Plans for a private hospital on Hobart's Newtown Road have been abandoned due to cost blowouts. Proposed by Nexus Hospitals, the Tasman Private Hospital was to include inpatient beds, general practice, surgery and other allied services.
It's disappointing from my point of view in terms of the impact on the broader system. It's always great to have good investments.
We need a strong public healthcare system, but there are those needs for purpose-built facilities.
The Greens say it's a cautionary tale against infrastructure blowouts.
Utterly delusional if they think that this stadium can be built with a roof to meet the requirements of the AFL for $715 million.
It's a challenging project, but that's not to say that we can't get it built, and it's certainly not to say we can't get it built on budget.
The Premier says there are contingencies built into the stadium cost estimate. Tasmania's Vietnam veterans have honoured fallen mates half a century after the war's end. Diggers say the statewide services meant more than words can convey after decades of being shamed for their service.
17 reefs and 17 crosses for 17 Tasmanian soldiers who paid the ultimate sacrifice during the Vietnam War.
I was really privileged because I could lay the wreath for a friend who died, a bloke I went to school with. We went through training together.
A sea of medals worn with pride at memorial services across the state, commemorating 50 years since Australia withdrew its troops from the conflict.
They fought bravely and honourably, often under difficult and dangerous situations.
However, the public's response upon the diggers' return home was far from deserving.
I was inducted up in Sydney. I walked through a barricade of people hissing, booing and spitting at me. It wasn't very nice and I remember it extremely well.
We got spat on the street, got called child killer, got shunned from places where we'd want to go.
For 30 years I never walked into an RSL. I walked into one and they said, well, you shouldn't come in here, Peter, because you went to a war we didn't want you to.
The recognition and gratitude shown by today's strong crowds, a true reflection of changed times.
To see all the people now coming and celebrating these soldiers over the years that have done so well for our country and being accepted, it's a real honour.
Tasmanians promising at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
"100 Tasmanians aged 18 to 25 have shared their experiences and opinions to pave the way for a brighter future. The Youth Network of Tasmania and Brand Tasmania officially launching their Youth Story consultation report. Its findings aimed to help government and decision makers better understand the opportunities, challenges and needs of the next generation.
Young people have expressed that housing instability and insecurity is a significant issue. They're not able to break into the private rental market. We know that youth unemployment is an issue.
This new generation, they really feel proud to be Tasmanian. They understand why people are coming here, and they're actually holding us to account to say, we get it, it's really great, but if you don't solve these problems and involve us in these decisions, we might leave.
Members of the public can view the report via the company's websites. Scientists are issuing an urgent call for help researching the Southern Ocean. They say what happens there holds the key to climate change, but a lack of data is holding them back.
The vast blue reaches of the Southern Ocean are under threat.
When we talk about global warming, we're really talking about ocean warming. So 90% of all the heat, that extra heat that humans have generated since the Industrial Revolution has all gone into the ocean.
300 scientists have gathered in Hobart for the Southern Ocean Observation System's first international conference.
We've had talks throughout the week covering observations, the links into policy, the data delivery of those observations.
But there's a big problem. They say observation programs lack long-term funding and the tools to do it properly in winter.
This is a really critical part of the climate, and we don't understand how it's changing or what it will do to our regional climates in the future.
Changes in the ocean have an enormous effect, accelerating climate change, driving a decline in sea ice and threatening biodiversity.
With the massive declines in sea ice that we're seeing in recent years, that includes all species, from Antarctic krill to iconic species like the emperor penguin.
Scientists at the conference have issued an urgent call to arms. They say we're in a race against climate change, and a critical tool is more secure research funding. They're calling for action from governments world over.
We need regional action, we need national action, and we need international action through instruments like the United Nations.
A worldwide call out to help protect the planet. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians hungry for a good night and a great cause will enjoy the best of the best at tomorrow's Variety of Chefs Gala Ball. The degustation dinner is completely sold out, with 4 federal group chefs lined up to feed more than 360 guests. Live entertainment, including a variety kid turned singer, will also take to the stage. It's hoped the event will raise $150,000 to bolster the Variety School Breakfast Club.
$150,000 will provide daily breakfast for 1,500 children over a year period, school year that is.
In this case, we actually as chefs can give back personally into that area and make sure that the kids are looked after going forward.
The celebration also marks a 30-year relationship between Variety and the federal group. Tasmanians are being urged to be on the lookout for cryptocurrency scams after a staggering $6 million was lost statewide this year alone. Police say they've received more than 100 scam reports, with losses ranging from $20,000 to more than $2 million. Victims were often targeted through dating and social media apps by fake businesses claiming to be crypto experts. Anyone who thinks they're the victim of a scam should contact cyber.gov.au.
Pressure is ramping up in the National Premier League with only 4 weekends left before finals. South Hobart has their work cut out for them, taking on Glenorchy Knights, who sit just 1 point above on the ladder. It'll be an important match and a special one for Nick Morton as he celebrates his 200th game.
For him to have added so far 144 goals in those 200 games, or in those 199 games so far, is pretty impressive for a midfielder.
Meantime, Launceston United has given up its title as reigning premiers in the Women's Super League, now vying for second place against the Devonport Strikers.
We had a good lesson the last time we played them, which is that we can hold them with 10 players. So I very much hope that we can go one better with 11.
The game will kick off at Burke Avenue tomorrow afternoon. A big weekend of NTFA Division 1 action will be headlined by a team making their first finals appearance since 2017. Perth are back in the running, hosting Old Western Sonians in a cutthroat elimination final on Sunday.
We've got a lot of confidence. We've trained really well this week. Lots of boys are excited. Finals footy. It's a whole different ball game out there now.
Meanwhile, a big Saturday of footy awaits in May Park, while reigning premiers St Pat's take on Lilydale in the men's qualifying final. And in the women's, the Hillwood Sharks play East Tamar rivals Georgetown in the first semi-final.
There's 5 weeks off normally. The rivalry makes it a little bit more tough. There's a bit more fire there. So, yeah, we'll look forward to it and we'll go out and try and put our best foot forward.
All the action kicks off from 10:25 tomorrow morning. Jack Jumpers coach Scott Roth says his side settled into pre-season well. Joined by players and new NBL CEO David Stevenson at a pre-season lunch today, he said the team got through its first scrimmage yesterday.
It was just more allow our guys to run around and play a little bit and work on their conditioning, and we try to stay in some of our structure.
Stevenson is pressing the case to the state government for a MyState Bank Arena expansion.
We think somewhere in that 7,000 to 9,000 zone, I think, will give us a great mix of catering to the domestic demand, but also to create great tourism opportunities.
Every Jack Jumpers home game in the first 2 seasons has been a sellout.
Good evening. Happy Friday to you all. Hobart and Burnie 13 today. Launceston the warmest around the state with 16 degrees, and Devonport recorded 15. Lowhead, Friendly Beaches and St Helens all 14. Ouse and Flinders Island 13. King Island Grove and Strawn 12. And a cool day at Lyowini, a top of just 5. Showers fell over the north and west this morning after some good falls over the highlands overnight. The cloud did scatter during the day. A band of cloud stretches from central Queensland to down over the Tasman Sea. The rest of the country cloud-free, apart from Victoria and southeast Queensland. Tomorrow, a high centres over South Australia, extending a ridge over most of the country, not quite reaching us. We're in a very strong westerly airstream, up to 20 to 30 knots, but getting up to 35 knots over the south later. Swells at 4 to 5 metres in western and southern waters. And with those strong winds, a gale warning has been issued for waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point, a strong wind warning from Sandy Cape to St Helens Point. So a windy start to the weekend, partly cloudy and 16 for Hobart, 12 the top for Maydena, the chance of a shower, and 13 the high for Oatlands, 2 to start the day. Launceston a cloudy 17, 16 for Devonport, a shower for Lyowini, -2, a top of 8. Burnie expecting a top of 14 degrees with a shower, Strawn showery and 13, Marrawar showers easing, 14 the top. St Helens partly cloudy and 17, same for Swansea, partly cloudy as well for Orford, 16 the maximum. On Sunday a few showers over the west and King Island, partly cloudy for the remainder of the state. Showers increasing over the north on Monday, a few showers in the west and through Bass Strait as well. And on Tuesday showers statewide as winds tend more westerly. Partly cloudy and 21 in Perth, showers and 16 in Adelaide and Melbourne, sunny in Sydney, 19, and fine for Brisbane, 22 there tomorrow. Bit of drizzle over Hobart at 7 at the moment, 8 right now in Launceston and 8 degrees in Devonport. You've been a bit of a trooper lately, haven't you, Lou? Kim Miller just decides to go off on holiday and you've stepped into the breach well. Hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks, and I reckon your fans will be happy. You're in the desk this weekend, taking over. That's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.